Hello everybody, today's video is going to discuss how to use a Lightbox gallery on your website, or more specifically like on your blog posts. Now, the importance of using a Lightbox, it really has to do with the fact that so many people nowadays are using mobile devices all the time to actually read or do other searching. So if you have really large images, number one, it takes a long time for that stuff to load, but it's really hard to see it sometimes. So the alternative solution is you do a smaller image because you're trying to get things to load a little bit faster, but there's actually a better way. So I'm going to demonstrate this actually by showing one of the articles we have on our company website. That as I'm going through here, everything's nice, it's organized. I can see I've got an image here, but I can't, maybe I just need glasses. I don't see it as well as I'd like to. But if I click on the image, it's now going to pop it up larger into a new box, new window. You can start to read things better. And more importantly, see all the images along the side here. I can actually cycle through all of the other images that are in the article that I have chosen to combine together. So this functionality, it's really important because it's going to allow you to keep compressed images on your site or on the blog, so it will still load faster for the reader, but at the same time allow them the option to click in and view more information at a deeper level. Now, when I started to do this video, I decided I should probably end up doing kind of a blog post about this as well. So I did start going through, and I'll put a link to this page because it has a couple extra resources on it. When you're doing a Lightbox gallery, it doesn't have to be just for images. You can actually click on and have it set up to do a video also. This will keep it from having to load the whole thing. Or you can do an individual image, or you can do separate, like this one has a gallery of just 2 images on it. I can do multiple galleries, if you will, for different things. So this was part of the old one, but the 3 down here are now all combined together. And if you're noticing, the images here, besides my face being in the way, of course, are much bigger, easier to read, but this still gives me the appearance I'm looking for on my web page. If you go to this site and you actually do the same thing through a mobile device, you'll find that the Lightbox still works there as well, especially since now you're talking about this really tiny screen. So one of the tools I talk about when I'm doing this, and the way this comes about, is you have to have multiple images of different sizes to actually make this work. I'm going to go into my edit post, and I'm using an Avada theme. It's my personal favorite to accomplish this. Each one of these, you'll see it says it's an image. I'm going to click on edit the element. You'll find I have an image loaded. I'm going to click edit so you can see it. And the size of this image is 634 by 371 in pixels. Now, when we talk about a size of an image, there's 2 aspects of this. There's the size in pixels, and then there's the weight of the image. The weight is megabytes, how much, how heavy it is on the site itself. Now, that same image, if I go over 1, I have another version of this same image that's 1267 by 742. So by choosing this smaller one, I'm going to hit exit out of here real quick. I'm able to have the small one look nice on the site the way I want it to. I can scroll down, and most builders have some function just like this. Image Lightbox, I choose yes. Then I choose the image I want. And if I hit edit on this one, you're going to see that when we select it, you want to make sure you select the larger item, and you want to make sure it's full size on the one that pulls up in the Lightbox. You also, with the gallery ID, you do something like this, the accelerated invoicing 1. You'll notice there's not spaces, but underscores there. By doing that, it will actually create a gallery that I can group the images the way I want to show the important information at the important time. If you have an article that is using multiple sections or covering multiple topics, this is really important to help keep people kind of on point with what they're reading if they're looking at the image right at that time also. Keep them from being confused. Hit save. And this will now make it to where we've got it set up here. And when we click into these, we get this much, much larger image being displayed. One of the tools I use to make this the most efficient, to make these images the most efficient way possible, it is linked in the article, but it's resizingimage.net. So what this allows me to do is I would basically come here, I would upload an image as you're seeing. It's going to show me my full aspect ratio. And I can actually come into here and I can choose to compress this image. So now when I'm talking compress, I'm talking about that size in megabytes, gigabytes, so forth. Shrink it down, make it smaller on the size of it just by clicking. Well, JPEG is always weighs a lot less than a PNG, if you will. But I like the PNG because that's usually how you'll keep a transparent background if you took a snapshot of something. But the other thing I can do is I can come into here and I can actually just change the aspect or the size by pixels also by going 50%. Now I brought up 50% on purpose because of Retina displays. Anytime on a website that you have an image, if it's going to be displayed on a Retina display, iPad, iPhone, anything Apple, Mac, so forth, anything with a 4K display, it actually wants you to load a secondary image that's twice as large. So if you're talking something that's like a logo that's 256 by 256, that would then go to 512 by 512, or as we saw here, we just took the actual image down by 50%. You would load the initial smaller one, and that's the size it's always going to display. But on a Retina display, you're also going to upload the one that's twice as large, even though it will still only show by the 760 by 426. It needs that twice the size image because of the high resolution display to show the same image, but in high resolution. So this site allows me to do this stuff very, very quickly. I can do my compression ratio here, go resize image. Oops, that one's been sitting there for a bit. And when that would happen, you can actually view the image. We'll just start with a brand new one here. Come in, grab something, boom, pulls it up real fast. This gives me my initial size, so 702 by 437. I can crop this if I need to, or not, of course. And then I can resize this. I like PNG, like I said before, lossless. Resize the image. It's going to take it, compress it at this point to make it a little bit smaller. Now, these are compressed versions, so it may not be much of a difference. But let's go here. Let's take this to 50 now and go resize image again. And you'll see that we are now smaller. If I was to go to a JPEG of the same thing, let's go back to 100% and we'll go resize. With JPEG, you can actually do normal compression. I usually go to about 80. It's never been an issue for me. Resize image. Now we're at 22 without making it any smaller. If I go 50, resize image, now I'm down to 8. And that has to do with the weight on the page and how fast things are actually going to load. So I went through that extra information because that is really, really important, that even when you're doing the Lightbox, you want to make sure you're always taking your images, compressing them as best you can, rename the images to have your keyword in it before you upload them to get the best SEO possible out of it. And once you're done, you'll have multiple images on your site where you can do the full Lightbox experience out of it and make it easiest for your readers to enjoy your article. So, Linda, this one was for you. I hope this helps people out. If you've got more questions, as always, please reach out. You can check out our QB Community Live Facebook group or reach out to us directly at Parkway Business Solutions. More importantly, here's wishing you a very successful week.